and I'm going to be transcribing as well. So everybody knows this meeting is being recorded and transcribed. We're holding this meeting remotely within the laws enacted per executive order of the state of Massachusetts. I apologize, everyone. I was unable to get the minutes together. So next meeting, I'll have 3 sets of minutes. Last meeting's minutes, this meeting's minutes, the meeting before last minutes, for us to approve. Jack Hunter was unable to join us tonight, but we have the town's junior planner, Dylan Lindholm here, who I invited. Dylan's been involved with much of this stuff and does a lot of great work for the town. I figured we could kind of discuss the master plan with Dylan, where it's at, that sort of thing. And then we could frame our discussion about the EDC portion of it after we talk to Dylan.
Sounds good, Dylan.
What was that?
I was just going to say, Dylan, to kick us off, how about, it would be great because I haven't met you. Nice to meet you. Could you tell us a little about yourself and what are you doing with Jack? What are you guys working on?
Yeah, sure. So I joined Mendon in last January, so it's been a year and a few months now. As the junior planner, they've moved me to assistant planner, same thing. I work in Mendon, Uxbridge, and Millville as a shared town planner. Jack has been doing this for a lot longer than I have, so he's the big boss and brings a lot of experience to the table, and he's been training me in a lot of things. And at this point, in Uxbridge, without Jack, I do the economic development there. There's not much going on in Uxbridge's side, but we try. And I'm also doing Millville. We're doing some economic development there as well. So I have a little experience with economic development, at least. On the planning side, I'm trying to write some grant applications for all 3 towns, working on, let's see, aquifer protection in Mendon. Obviously, I support the planning board and the ZBA in Mendon as well.
Awesome.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
I was able to talk a little bit with Jack the other day on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of got a sense of where the master plan is at, but
Mm-hmm.
if you wouldn't mind kind of giving your perspective on it, like what's happening with it, where,
Yeah.
like, where it's at, what stage are we at, and kind of what we can do to help with its passage.
Yeah, my understanding is we don't have an implementation committee yet. Usually that would be the next step, and I don't know if you guys have heard anything, if I'm missing something, but I haven't heard of us putting together an implementation committee yet. Do you know anything?
So that's one of the things that I talked to Jack about. It doesn't seem like it has been put together.
Okay.
Yeah. And it would be good to get some folks from this committee on that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Typically we'd see, economic development would be great. Someone from the planning board, someone from the select board, capital planning or finance, the TA, maybe some others who might be involved, conservation or historical. We could have a committee of a number of people and go through each of the action items within the objectives. I think we have 5 goals, and then we have objectives for each of those goals. I'm gonna have to read through them all again because I wonder, I know this is a pretty new master plan, but some of them might be in action. There might be a few things here that that we are working on. But it's really nice to have an implementation committee to chart all of those out, assign different departments or different projects to different teams, and go through this one by one and actually get them done instead of just having this sit here and collect dust.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen master plans just kind of fall by the wayside.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is great.
You know,
We can start talking about it more.
A document is the document being passed, is a good thing to have for sure.
Yeah.
Dylan and Tom, who's in charge, or where does the responsibility lie to get this going? Because I mean, I've tried reaching out to Bill a few times and it's been crickets. Is this a select board thing? Does this lie with Bill?
So what Jack Hunter told me, and please, please don't, Dylan, please feel free to jump in if I'm.
Sure.
What Jack Hunter said is it's been given to CMRPC,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
who's basically going to be breaking it down to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can jump in here too. I know Bill was a little bit away for the last few months for some health reasons, but I think he's back on board. So I'll make sure that Bill Ambrosino is involved because I know he did a lot of work on this with CMRPC. So CMRPC has been involved very much already. And I can reach out to them and say, hey, we're ready for this next phase and to really, go forward with an implementation committee and make sure that that gets in place in the next few months. That way we don't lose any time here. I think we just had probably a little break there, just, I don't want to say like staffing, but, getting everyone in the same place. So I can reach out to CMRPC and just put a little fire, build a little fire and get things forward.
absolutely. Yeah, I think the way Jack kind of explained it to me, is just that their next step in the process would be to kind of break it down into like things that could pass at the next town meeting, that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I think it's on like page 227 of the master plan. They have the summary of strategies. I think they'd take that, all the goals, the objectives, and the action items that they've put here. You guys have put a whole bunch of things here. These would be put into a list. CMRPC can help assign those. I can tell you Millville's master plan has a page where it has like a chart of which departments and boards need to be involved in certain items. And I think that'd be really useful here and start assigning things.
So I think I'm looking at the master plan that's on the website, and it seems to have that.
Oh, where is it? Am I not finding it? I didn't know.
Like I'm looking. There's several things that are labeled as EDC.
What page are you on? Okay. I see it. I found it.
You found what I'm talking about?
I found it. Yeah, you guys have it written differently than I expected to find it. Yeah, so here's goals, objectives, and then they have things labeled for particular departments.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So that's kind of.
So an implementation committee will be able to, it's written here, but we want to make sure that actually happens. So the implementation committee will be the one to sort of say, hey, we're in the place now. This is the time for you guys to start working on this. Here's a project for you. Go ahead. Get those teams together in the right place.
So they're the czars almost.
What was that?
They're basically the czars.
Yeah, exactly.
Crack the whip a bit.
Exactly.
So what is the CMRPC gonna do then? Just say, okay, yes, go forward, implementation committee?
Yeah, they're just they work for a whole bunch of towns in the area. I don't know how familiar you are with them, but they're sort of on the outside, but they're a commission of planning, like they're a regional planning. So they just help all the towns out with planning matters, things like master plans or zoning bylaws. So they've been really good about saying, okay, why don't you guys do this next? Or why don't you do this next? We're in a place right now where we're just ready to go with an implementation committee. I think I would say the planning board can just sort of spearhead that and say, we're ready to do that. But CMRPC is also available to send out the emails to each of these boards and committees that we think should be involved. Send out emails to all those boards and say, hey, do you want to recommend somebody from your board or commission to join this new committee?
Okay.
Yeah. So they could do that. Planning could do it. But if we leave it with them, then we know it's assigned and it's ready to. They can do that for us, and it's less legwork on the town side.
Sorry, you were very much breaking up.
Yeah, Tony, can't hear you.
Yeah, robotic.
Tony, we couldn't hear any word. If you could hear us, we couldn't
Oh,
hear any
is
words you
this-
said.
Is this better now?
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
The Bluetooth, sorry.
No worries.
I was just saying, I just don't want to lose momentum. We put a lot of work
Mhm.
into this. And it seems like, nothing's been done for about 6 months now. So I just, I just don't want to be pushing that year, because once we go past that year, I think it's gonna be hard
I
to come
agree.
back from that.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, so this is a start, right? This is great. I can definitely be the one to start this next step, and get together the people who need to put together an implementation committee. CMRPC can help recommend exactly who should be on that, but we can, I think we just have to determine who those people are. Can't be, one of everyone, but we have to decide who makes sense.
My question, so the last update from Bill was that they're waiting for a bound copy to be presented to the select board.
Yeah.
Do you know, has that been done?
So we gave bound copies to the select board. I don't remember when that was, but it was a few months ago.
Okay.
And it was sort of like plastic bound. Bill has been waiting for me to get a hardbound copy as well, which I've got quotes for $300, and the other quote I have is $70, but I can't get Treasurer to pay that one company $70. So working on that, but yes, they do have a bound copy that has a plastic, spiral bound right now.
Why can't they pay him?
Because it doesn't have, it's an online company, so they don't have a purchase order, and they don't have a town credit card.
Down W-9. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they don't do that, so can't use them. So I can't find anyone who's under $300 other than that. So working on it.
There's no town credit card?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that surprise you, Tom?
Oh, there was when I was there.
Well, there might be one, but they didn't tell me that there was one. Yeah.
That's
or
fine.
it's not in use or something. Yeah.
I'm not good.
But the select board, they've seen this plan, and it's been, Gail Wellman and I bound it in the building department office with those spiral bound plasticky things with a little plastic cover on top and everything. So they look nice.
Select board's aware that we're at this step. Next step.
Yes. Yep.
I guess so. The question, it seems like the next step really is to get CMRPC to get a move on.
Yeah, I'll talk to CMRPC, and what I'll also do is see if maybe I should, or Jack Hunter, maybe we should just talk to the select board and tell them, hey, this is our next step. no action item at the select board meeting, but just to give an update and say, hey, we're moving, we're doing
Keep
something
it
else.
in keep it in people's
Yeah, their minds on the radar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's very interesting kind of seeing like to me like in terms of economic development purposes, like I'm always interested by like the survey results
Hmm.
because they often give like conflicting messages
Yeah, they do.
about what the town wants. I mean, what's your kind of read on what the townspeople are looking for?
I have absolutely, I see a conflict between both sides in a lot of these situations, which is really interesting. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's every single town, but on any of the subjects, I've seen vocal sides on both sides, which makes things
Right.
difficult.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I even with this new even with the senior center discussion,
right.
for years, I mean, like, shame on me as the moderator for weighing in on this, but I for years, like one of the like we've talked about that property um right across the from Clough, like for
Yeah.
years now.
Yep.
It's come up many times at many town meetings, and one thing we've heard from people is that they like it to remain municipal use. Um, and now, so that's what we're discussing now. And I guess I'm surprised that there is some opposition growing to that.
Right.
Because that's what I thought. That's what I thought that has been called for a few
Yeah.
different times.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Um,
Yeah, it's
but
hard to.
I'm not saying it's a wrong thing. I'm just
Yeah.
saying I was surprised to see some like of the pushback from it, and I guess
Yeah.
we'll see at town meeting.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah.
but
It's the same with housing too. I've got vocal sides on both sides. Um,
yeah, I mean,
aquifer, protecting the aquifer seems to be something that makes sense to everyone, but there's fears about what that means. It's a problem with messaging too. And I think any of these situations where we have some sort of split, it's about the messaging and how it's presented. So I can't think of like one particular case in the master plan that might be contentious in some respect, or that there's, you know, two sides to the story, but it's about the way that the implementation committee frames that situation and communicates it to the public that will clarify the truth of the matter and not the fear or just a misunderstanding or anything like that, which could help get a majority of people understanding the same thing, being on the same page.
right. Yeah, I mean that's part of it is being a thermostat sometimes and not just a thermometer.
Yeah.
And kind of clearly stating like, and I saw that there's the housing workshop at the
Mhm.
Mendon Senior Center, and it was very helpful to, I think, like talk through what the different options are, because people think when they hear housing, affordable housing, they think
Yeah.
of like block units, like
Yep.
apartment complex,
Yep. That's the framing. Yeah.
brownstone.
Yep.
But like when people see some of the different options there are,
Mm-hmm.
I think they be, they tend to be much more open to it, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. And any involvement I have with the master plan, same as the involvement I have with the housing production plan that's in process right now, where that workshop came from. It's what I harp on all the time is the framing of a situation. Like housing is not block housing. It's homes for people to live in. And even just changing the word housing to homes, people realize that everyone needs a home to live in, and it changes your idea, and you realize you're thinking of a house instead of you're thinking of this big block apartment.
I'm I mean I'm kind of like radically in favor of affordable housing for men.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
It's hard to get everyone on that page though.
no, absolutely.
Yeah,
Like you know,
yeah.
I'm of the mind that like we need it everywhere.
Yeah,
People
it's
need a
true.
place to
It's true.
live, and we need to do our part.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
So
like
are
I
we
do
go
think-
we still gonna make sure that the housing is gonna align with the plan, the master plan,
That's the
right?
whole point. Exactly.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and that's
That
kind
it's
of
that we're not looking at block housing, that we're looking at homes.
No.
Like there's one that we're looking at right now. It's going to be a single family house, but it's affordable.
right. And there's like there's options for little villages and stuff like that,
Yep.
like village style like communities and
All of their own separate little houses, which is really nice. Yeah, I love those. They
I
look
mean,
really
there's all
nice.
sorts of options available for people, and there's options that jive well with Mendon's character, and
And it'll be on the implementation committees, part of their purview, to make sure that anything going forward does fit with these plans. But it's also, I think, the implementation committee's job to frame things properly so that it's communicated clearly and we don't accidentally say something that makes people think the wrong thing.
right.
My big
So
thing.
I don't
It's
wanna-
my big soapbox.
Bill, I don't want to get into the weeds too much,
Yeah.
get off topic too much, but for the affordable housing, has any thought been given to just providing tax incentives to landlords? Because obviously one of the big factors that people don't want to be landlords for it because of the headache of dealing with the state government and
Yeah,
rebates and all that sort of stuff. But so trying to incentivize them to rent as an affordable housing.
Yeah, the rental units we're looking less at and more of the homes that are purchased as affordable. But I'll definitely put that in the housing production plan working group. I'll talk to them about that as well. That's a good idea.
Yeah, just do that because I mean, as you were kind of saying, the word for developing is kind of a contentious topic because I mean,
Right.
obviously building commercial multifamily is the most economical thing.
Right,
But
right.
if we're not going to allow that in town, then okay, well, how are we going to go about it? So
Exactly. Small change is still change, and that's definitely great.
Also, like on that note, like allowing people to like have like a side housing piece on their existing house, like for a
Yes,
relative, like a
accessory
relative.
dwelling units. We're definitely looking at that as well. Yep.
ADUs, yeah, exactly. I know that's something that's discussed in that housing production meeting I went to.
Mhm.
And it seemed to be one that just about everybody there was in favor of, because
Yep,
like
I'll tell you, it's in the working group for the housing production plan. We're also talking about ADUs with the bylaw diagnostic that CMRPC is doing. So CMRPC is going to look at all of our zoning bylaws, see what's missing, see what doesn't make sense, see what we need to take out, if anything, and they'll give us recommendations for that. So that I think will be sort of part in tandem with the master plan. I think it's part of it because we want it to align more with the master plan. And CMRPC is working on that right now, and they'll give us a report when they're ready. I don't know how long it'll take.
yeah. I also, I find it interesting, like Mendon in the past 10 years has become the community with the highest median income in the Blackstone Valley.
Yes.
It's just very interesting. Like we've surpassed Upton now, which traditionally was like when I was growing up, like the rich town,
Wow. Yeah.
We weren't really that. I mean, we weren't really that far apart, but like it's now like Mendon is
Yes.
10 shoulders above every other community in the Blackstone Valley.
Yeah.
And I do think like a big piece of it is the fact that you point to every other town in the area and they have some substantial like affordable housing developments of some kind. I'm not saying like that's a bad thing or not, but it is, like, I think a lot of people of more modest means might have been pushed out of the town.
Yes, I think there are a lot of people in, I don't want to say just Mendon because it's happening all over Massachusetts, but they're being pushed
Right.
out of their hometowns. It's very common
Yeah.
right now.
Absolutely. And I
I'll
think
speak
that's
from
definitely
experience.
happened.
Yeah, yep.
I
But
think
Dylan,
that's definitely happened in,
Dylan,
was that?
Who's on that committee? Or
For the housing production plan.
yeah.
We have, it's a working group, so it's not a committee, I guess. I don't know really the difference, but we have, I think 2 of the selectmen, Elena and Mike Goddard. We have Jack Hunter and myself. CMRPC's there.
Is that
Ann Mazar.
I'm
Sorry?
getting some emails from Ann.
Yeah, Ann Mazar's there. It's such a I see like half of them every time we have a meeting, and it's always a different half of them. So I'm trying to remember who was at the last one. There's a few people.
I mean, who's kind of chairing it? Is it Elena?
CMRPC does, actually.
Okay.
They run it all. They lead us in the direction.
And Dylan, just in your opinion, what is the expertise level of this group when it comes to affordable housing and its development?
CMRPCs?
No, but
Or the housing?
I mean, I guess CRMPC, but I mean the people within it. I mean, is it just people who care, or is it the people who actually have a very good working knowledge of this stuff?
It's just representatives from town boards and departments, really, with CMRPC being the expertise in the matter. The housing production plan is something that Mendon already has, but it needs to be renewed every 5 years for the state to give us the okay. If we don't have one, then I think we lose even more rights. We don't have our 10% affordable housing right now, so obviously we're sort of under that. And then if we don't have a housing production plan, we have even less protection from comprehensive permits.
All right. I don't want to belabor this. I might reach out to you offline just to get a couple comments on it. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I think affordable housing will be a big piece of this. In terms of like economic development specifically, though, like I'm reading through like some of the action items suggested, like hiring a town planner. Are stuff we've done.
Right.
Hosting like a meeting space for businesses, like I mean, I think that's how we've envisioned the open for business breakfasts that we've had in the past, and are hopefully doing another one soon in the future. I think that's kind of how we've envisioned those.
Yeah.
So like some of these are done.
Yeah, well, that's great, because what I'll have CMRPC do is sort of check those off. Well, let's have something visual that we could see all the checkoffs, and then we'll have that as a way to go, item by item at that point.
Perfect.
Yeah. So let me do that. We can keep talking about this, of course. I don't want to keep you guys too late as well. So
Dylan,
tomorrow, let me do that. Yeah.
I got one quick question before you check out. In terms of the grants, I know that that's continual process. Is there anything in terms of what we need that you guys are working on, or what we need to be mindful of to help assist with the EDC and the master plan that we need to jump on that was kind of lagging because the plan is sort of not being moved into implementation stage?
So the only things that Mendon's looking for right now in the this grant season, for the grants are out with the state right now. We are going for some to protect the aquifer that's in town. I think it encompasses half the town, so it's water related. Of course, the main goal there is if there's a possibility of a public water source, could it be developed in the future? So I know there's grants that we applied for to have some engineers help us with that project. I don't think there's a few CMRPC grants as well that I can look at I'll take a look at them tomorrow and see if there's anything we want to bookmark, and I can make sure that you guys are aware of them.
Yeah, because things like the trails, anything we can do to the trails and the the pedestrian, blah 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 blah, all that stuff we wanted to do.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'll say I don't. It's unfortunate that I'm split between 5 different positions between 3 towns. I don't have the amount of time I'd love to commit to economic development and planning in Mendon, but to the extent that I have time to, I'll absolutely put that on my list for tomorrow, and I'll get Jack Hunter involved. And actually, the conservation agent's also very interested in a few grants, especially trails, so I'll talk to her.
Yeah, okay.
So there was a point when we applied for a site improvement grant.
A what grant?
Site improvement grant.
Oh yeah.
Through Jack, like, is there any word on like was that awarded to us?
I don't know. I'll check on that.
Just because I remember we weighed in on that and supported it, and we also asked for some money for water exploration as well.
Yeah, let me check on that. I can
Okay, that'll be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, so I have a few things here, and I'm always available if any of you want to contact me. Tom, you can share my email address.
Absolutely.
So any questions or comments that I can help with in the future, I'm always here.
Thank you.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for stopping by.
No worries. Is there anything else you need me for? I'm gonna run back downstairs to the rest of this planning board meeting.
Sounds good.
Okay, great.
I think we're good.
Talk to you all later. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay, thanks, Don.
All right. Then there are 3. So that was that one's definitely a great resource. So happy she was able to come. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I got one thought. I was just, we're in the members of the EDC. It seems, I don't know, and I think Tony, he was trying to allude to that even the housing plan, there's no EDC member on it, right?
Right.
Is that what does that mean? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think this is an ad hoc committee. That's how Elena's described it, and I tried, that's why I tried to make sure I went to the last workshop. I don't know how the process, that process was selected, or whether it was CMRPC that picked the people. I mean, because there's not even anybody from the planning board on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you kind of said it was ad hoc. I mean, there isn't really stuff that you want to just be flying by the seat of your pants on. And Anne was kind enough to reach out to me and say, hey, we're having this meeting, this thing at the senior center, but it was literally like a day before, and I found out when I was,
Yeah.
It's just,
yeah,
I don't know.
I was able to go, and it was good to hear people's thoughts on. But basically, I don't know if either remember the MPP process, like the CMRPC municipal vulnerability plan. But they basically got a bunch of people in a room with a map of Mendon, and essentially they were like, hey, which type of housing would you like to see in which areas? And they had like pictures of different types of housing, and people could put them on the areas they thought were good, and they discussed why, and it was open to the public, and there's a good amount of people who went, mostly seniors.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I am interested to know like how that sort of builds into their overall housing production plan, because I do know we contract the MRPC to do that type of stuff. Like you said, like it's just kind of like a random assortment of people. Then is that it just eventually leads to like a plan getting spit out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just happy that she said it was being led by, and I always butcher the acronym CRMPC. Because I mean, my concern was that there's just people who didn't really know what they were talking about, and just had good intentions, but didn't really know how to do anything. But if it's being led by a planning group,
The Regional Planning Commission.
Yeah, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what it had like proctors from CMRPC meeting.
Yeah, because it's in the newsletter where they talk about, they got this housing plan committee is going, and everyone, here's the committees that they're working on, and here's the other ones that's in works with the MPRC.
Right. I mean, it's good. Hopefully Dylan can kind of push CMRPC along. I mean, I find like in the past, like what has hung things up is they work with just so many different towns at once, that sometimes I feel like they just gotta get, like, it's whoever's the squeaky wheel gets the grease,
Yeah.
And like, again, like if the select board had bound copies and master plan's done and we're just waiting on putting together an implementation committee, like, I just don't want this to fall into the same pattern that we have fell into in the past when we've had master plans done or being worked on.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to push this. That was good.
What was that?
I say it looks like we're gonna have to push this. This committee gonna have to push that to get it done.
Yeah, right. And I mean,
which is fine.
No, that's fine. I mean, that's one of the reasons we're here. I mean, I said most of my thoughts on like the economic development piece of it. I was talking with Dylan a little bit before, like everybody else got here, about water.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
Well, I think that's one of the reasons they're trying to protect the aquifer with a grant is because that's like that is like the most promising way of getting town water in Mendon is through the aquifer. I mean, that's one step is getting my protected for the future. In terms of like, a lot of this stuff is being performed by CMRPC in the background. It sounds like one of our next goals should be to get somebody from like the rep from CMRPC at a future meeting. I think.
Nice.
Yeah, that'd be a bad idea.
Because it seems like a lot of this stuff is farmed out to them, and they are available to the town. That's why they're here. So maybe I can reach out to see if I can get them to come to the future meeting.
Yeah, be great.
And I mean, that way, like, we don't have to wait.
Carrie, right? Carrie Swalla? Swalla?
Swalla? Who? Is that the rep?
I'm thinking that's the rep.
Okay. I think you might be right.
Okay.
Any other thoughts about the economic development piece of it?
No. Anthony? Yeah, I guess it's really. I guess it's really nothing we can really. I guess we could start working on the goals or the objectives that came out of the MPC, but without the implementation committee, without all that others, the pre-work not completed, I don't know. Is there value for go ahead and starting with the strategies?
I mean, I guess it's like, I think we should we don't want to duplicate work that's being done on the implementation committee, but it might be useful to come up with some ideas to inform their work.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, like where does the EDC want to see effort at?
Right.
Or focus at?
Yeah. I mean, I think the big thing right now is us just pushing to make sure that this implementation committee is put together. I mean, that's
Right.
step one, and then we can just try
I think
and
that's step one.
yeah, and they can just then we can start pushing our agenda a bit more to make sure the EDC stuff's handled too. But can't do
Right.
anything without the committee.
I mean, like there's pieces like I forgot to mention this earlier, but Jack Hunter said that like one piece of the master plan is being done at town meeting with the passage of age restricted zoning. Is part of the master plan. Like, it seems like some of it is being done piecemeal, but like, again, like, you wouldn't even know that's part of the master plan.
Yeah.
Unless I talk to Jack about it, you know.
You know, Tom, I think it'd be important for us to have Jack on these calls a bit more frequently, or Dylan, just to get monthly or even bi-monthly updates, just so we know what's going on and we're aware of what's going on.
One of the problems is this day specifically, Jack has Uxbridge Planning Board.
Gotcha.
So he won't be able to make our meetings.
I mean, I think Dylan's even fine enough as long as she knows ahead of time maybe what the topics we kind of want to discuss, or just whether or not she can give us an update. You know, and then if we really want to get Jack on, then maybe every so often we just I assume. Are you saying that just this specific Wednesday every month, or is it every Wednesday that you just can't do?
I think it's Wednesdays.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if we ever want to get Jack on, I mean, we could try and plan ahead and just change the day to see if he's available.
Yeah, true. Well, I think for this next month we should keep the same meeting day.
Yep.
Maybe the month after that, talk about changing so Jack can participate.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Not saying that Dylan isn't a great resource.
Oh no, I think Dylan will do a great job just keeping us in the loop and up to date on things. Whereas hearing from Jack from time to time would be good to really kind of get down to the nitty gritty and
right,
and,
like the actual.
really
Because I know Jack is kind of like the point person in a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Right, no, I agree with that. I'm fine with that.
Any other thoughts on that specifically?
No.
No. No. It'll be a month for our next meeting, so maybe we can go ahead and invite Dylan back. See what unless she emails us and let us know the updates of what she find. What do you think?
That sounds good to me.
It might be good if we tried our best to get Dylan some specific topics in the week leading up to it that maybe she can address.
Yeah, and also like, I mean, she can report, like, talk to Jack about them as well,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of, you know. I also do have an update on the Open for Business breakfast. I did end up sending that list to Jean Hubert of businesses, so I'm just waiting to hear back from her on that.
Oh, great. Okay.
Do we have any other items to discuss tonight that haven't already been discussed?
No,
No.
nothing urgent.
So I am going to so that would make the next meeting April 24th at 7:30 p.m.
Okay, yeah, that can work.
Let's see. Hold on. I'm traveling in April.
What was that?
I was just checking my. Okay, I will. That should work. Seven. I may not be able to make that. I'll be in Germany. Let's see.
Oh.
Yeah,
Want
that'd be like.
to try to do the week before that?
Yeah, the week before that will be better for me.
Yeah, I can do the week. I can do the 17th. I just can't do the following week. I can't do the 1st, but I can do the 17th.
What was that?
I can do the 17th.
All right, let's plan that then. And yeah. All right, we'll plan for April 17th, 7:30 p.m. for our next meeting. Beyond that, do I have a motion? I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
I.
Have a good night, guys.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Good night, guys.